Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. Hi, Abraham. So, I wanted to talk today about four specific words. All right, four words: satisfaction, contentment, success, and happiness. Those four. All right, and if you feel so inclined, especially on Facebook and YouTube, please write down what you think from those: success, satisfaction, contentment, and happiness. On Monday, we talked about this same topic, but from the point of view of whether satisfaction and success could go hand in hand. And since then, I've actually been studying a lot more about this and I delved into it. And it's a fascinating four words that can actually change a lot of things in our lives. So on Insta, if you are here, thank you so much for joining me. I won't be able to read and save these comments, so head on over to Facebook or YouTube. So, from everything that I'm reading, satisfaction is based on what you get. It's a feeling that you experience when requirements are met, when you received something. You're satisfied with a result. So, reminding ourselves that satisfaction is based on what we get, something we receive, something, a result of something. Contentment is based on what you have. There's an ease, there's a calm. You're good with what is right now. You're content with what is. Success is defined for most people as a point. You successfully landed on the moon. You successfully launched a new project. You successfully completed 30 days of exercise. You had a goal and you achieved it. That seems to be the difference, right? With success, goal oriented, something that gets achieved. And then happiness, true happiness, as far as I've read and also as far as I've experienced, is an inner joy, a calmness, a sense of well-being, serenity, a state of mind that pervades and underlies all emotional states. So lots of stuff can still be going on, and deep within you can still be happy. So let's, you know, very quickly redefine them, right? At least from what I'm reading and observing. Satisfaction is based on what you get, contentment based on what you have, success based on what you achieved, and happiness, an inner state that is not shaken as much by things around you. And as I kept reading, I found an article about Matthew Ricard, and he's earned the label as the world's happiest man. He was actually a case study in a long line of MRI studies that prove the physiological benefits of meditation, etc., etc. And he's French. He's a Buddhist monk. He has a PhD in cell genetics, and he talks about his definition of happiness. It for him is a deep sense of well-being, related to the ocean, as an example. Okay, so he says that if you've ever been in the ocean, you notice that on the surface, the waves are crashing. There might be turbulence, but I've noticed this as well, that if I'm in the ocean, swimming, and I'm a little bit stressed out because the waves are coming towards me, I find that if I duck and go into the wave, inside the wave, it's super peaceful, it's super calm. And for anyone who's also tried, scuba diving or even snorkeling, even swimming to somewhat of a deep part of the ocean, not even, fully going to the ocean floor, it's astounding how peaceful it is. It's like a different world in the water. And so Matthew Ricard talks about how happiness, true happiness, is like being inside the ocean where everything is peaceful, everything is serene, everything is kind of going at its own pace. And for anyone who's snorkeled or done a little bit of scuba, you're there and you see fish, you see maybe turtles, you see the flora and fauna of the ocean. They're just going about their own thing, they're not really perturbed most of the time by the fact that maybe there's a boat or a cruise ship or anything above them, or that something's churning the water, or that it's extremely windy. There's just this serenity deep within. And he talks about happiness as being that. So I'm using that because I want to come back to this at the end of our session today. I think a lot of times we don't realize this, but our success is measured by others more than ourselves because of the way I think society is set up. Our satisfaction is usually measured by our own mind, our own heart, the things that we hold dear. Success in one area doesn't guarantee satisfaction. You can reach all your goals, but still not be at peace with yourself, right? And on the flip side, even if you are not fully satisfied, you can be content. So, with all these little dots, little bits of information, I think it's true to say that success is not the key of happiness. Maybe the flip is true. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, I think over time you will be successful. So, there was a really, really great article, and you should go look it up. There's a writer called Acharya Prashant, and he talks about the conditionality of satisfaction versus no conditions being imposed in contentment. And he also asks, is it healthy the way that society is set up? That, for instance, why am I studying? I study because I don't want to fail. So there's a fear of failure in an examination which inspires us to study. So what is that environment where studying is happening? The environment is actually fear. And that means to keep working, to keep studying, ultimately you are inspired by dissatisfaction. All our lives we keep being dissatisfied, and we're taught this, right? That there's something more to be had, something more to achieve, and then that is given the name of progress. So the alternative, the contentment version, is I am what I am. I am all right now and always. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing can be taken away from me if I am completely centered. And in this feeling of wellness, of completeness, I can choose to do something. I don't do something in order to get something. I can choose to do something because I feel good. Most of us have a linear mindset. We see life as a series of goals, at the end of which there's some sort of a final absolute goal. But Acharya Prashant says, why not flip it and think that the final goal is not at the end of the journey. The final goal, the actual goal, is at the beginning of the journey. If you achieve the final first, everything else falls into place. If we are doing things out of a sense of enjoyment, then we are experimenting, we're having fun rather than fear. And if we were to do that, what would the quality of our lives be? What would the quality of our experiences be? So I think each one of us has our own answer, you know? It's not really that there's a right or a wrong way, but I would love if we can all experiment with it, kind of shifting between these states of satisfaction, contentment, success, and happiness. Definitely what's working for me nowadays is focusing on happiness and being content and or satisfied in the little things, the little tiny moments. And I find that anytime I'm trying to learn something new, if I start really small with baby steps, it sort of seeps into my life in a subconscious or even unconscious way. So I invite you today to breathe and to think about and even share. I'd love to read about this. Something that gave you much contentment. Maybe as we breathe, just focus on the last few things that made you feel content. Could be a really, really good meal with somebody, or the smell of your coffee or your tea in the morning, that when you sit down, you have just that moment. And in that moment, no matter what's happening around you, there's contentment, there's joy, there's just this sense of centeredness. Maybe it was a conversation, maybe having a great conversation with someone who really got you and that helped you feel content, in that moment. Maybe it was a hug, maybe it was a sunset or a sunrise that you just felt one with nature and one with, the universe, the planet. Maybe it was making your bed in the morning. That gives me actually more than contentment, that gives me a sense of satisfaction. And so, whichever it is that you choose to focus on, I wonder if we can be more conscious where we are in a state of satisfaction, contentment, happiness, or aiming to move towards success. I don't think anyone is right or wrong, but some definitely work better for us. I'd love to read more about what you felt contented about. Oh, I love this. Rita says, I had a beautiful talk with my grandparents today. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. All right. I love these sessions, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on Keeping It Light, for inspiring me to think about these things, for sharing your moments and reflections and experiences with me so that we all grow. I wish you a beautiful day. A day of whatever you choose. Success, satisfaction, contentment, and happiness. I think we can have it all. Love you all. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you on Friday.